morning, dear students, grade 12. Today we are going to have a recording on Macbeth Act 1. Okay? Preparing yourself for quarter 2 exam. Okay? Now I'm going to explain Act 1 Macbeth literature. Okay? Our session today, literature, Macbeth Act 1. As I told you before, that the beginning of, or the opening of our play is the appearance of the three witches. Okay? Three witches meet Macbeth and Banquo. And Macbeth and Banquo are two generals in one of the battles. And at that time, there was a civil war in Scotland, and Macbeth and Banquo, two generals, were returning victorious from one of the battles. Okay? So, at the beginning, the three witches, they meet Macbeth and Banquo on the heath, on a certain area of land, as the men returned from battle. They predict, when I say they predict, I'm talking of course about the witches, that Macbeth will be named Thane of Cawdor. That means that they foretell that Macbeth will be given the title of Thane of Cawdor and King of Scotland. At that time, Macbeth had the title of Thane of Glamis. Okay? But the witches, after meeting him, they told him that you are going to be Thane of Cawdor, and another witch told him that he is going to be King of Scotland. And when Banquo, Macbeth's friend, asked the witches about his situation, they told him that he will be father of kings, but he is not going to be king himself. That was the beginning, the opening scene in our play Macbeth. After saying their predictions, what happened to the witches? They vanished, they disappeared. And then it happened that some messengers came from the king. The King of Scotland at that time was King Duncan. And as I told you, if you are asked about the setting of the play, the setting of our play is Scotland and the time medieval period. Ross, one of the messengers, enters to greet Macbeth. Greet means to welcome Macbeth, telling him that King Duncan had given him the title of Cawdor, because the original person who had the title of Cawdor was a traitor, and King Duncan had ordered his execution. Okay? Now, actually, when the first prediction had been satisfied, Macbeth directly started to think about the other prediction, which is becoming king. Okay? Alright. Now, of course, Banquo, Macbeth's friend, he warned his friend that he doesn't have to believe in all these predictions, as the words of the witches are sometimes very dangerous. Then King Duncan, King of Scotland, announced at a certain time that after his death, his son Malcolm is going to be his heir. That means he is going to inherit the kingdom. Also, Duncan states his intention to visit Macbeth's castle in order to congratulate him for his winning in the battle. When Lady Macbeth, and I want you to focus on the character of Lady Macbeth, because actually many critics consider her the fourth witch, and she is a very evil character. Okay? She is the opposite of Macbeth in character. When Lady Macbeth reads the letter Macbeth has sent before, she determines her husband must take advantage of the opportunity of the arrival of King Duncan to their castle. However, Lady Macbeth's fears of the human kindness of Macbeth. Macbeth is not as determined as his wife about the need for murdering Duncan. And actually, if it hadn't been for Lady Macbeth, Macbeth wouldn't have completed the action of killing King Duncan. He considers reasons. Macbeth, all the time, he was considering reasons. He should defend rather than threaten the life of the king, because King Duncan was a popular character, and actually he is going to come to Macbeth in order to honor him. So how comes that a person is arriving to my place to honor me and I think about killing him? Duncan is a popular character and he is Macbeth's relative, so there are several points that would prevent Macbeth from thinking of killing Duncan. Lady Macbeth remains adamant and pressures Macbeth and attacks him all the time, telling him that you are not a man, you have to think about your interests, as well as reminders of their feelings for each other. She convinces Macbeth to proceed by presenting, she told him, her plan to drug Duncan's guards. She told him a certain plan. Lady Macbeth told Macbeth a certain plan, that they are going to drug Duncan's guards and leave evidence that will implicate, will involve them in the crime. So it will appear, when King Duncan is killed, it will appear that the guards had killed Duncan. And Macbeth, is not going to be what? Is not going to be guilty, because in front of the people, the drugs would be those who committed the crime. That's the end of Act 1, and the second or the coming recording is going to be the other acts. Okay? So please follow. Thank you so much, and goodbye.